Let's say the things that we both know. Gonna take these words and make them stone. I know a place.
Hey guys, welcome to So Beginnings by Honeybees Design. I'm your host, Kristen Ford, but if you've been here before, you already know that. If you haven't been here before, I'm just actually getting back. Believe it or not, we actually went on a vacation to Gatlinburg for the weekend. We left on Thursday and came back late on Sunday, and I have to say, I need a vacation from my vacation. Have you ever felt like that? Like you're just exhausted from your vacation? You plan this great vacation and everybody's going to have a good time and we're all going to relax and just enjoy the vacation, and it never happens. Okay, well that's where I'm at right now. We have a grandbaby. She's 2 years old, so this was her first vacation, and of course I wanted to do all the things with her and spend every minute with her. So both sets of my kids, as you guys know if you've ever watched my first video where I kind of tell you all about honeybees and a little bit about me and my life, I have two sets of children. One I gave birth to, the second set my marriage gave birth to. I got them through marriage. So we all went on vacation this weekend, and they went and done their own thing most of the time so that I could spend some time with the grandbaby. And well, I didn't get any rest. You just don't get rest when you're on vacation. So you kind of need a day or two when you get home just to wind down from everything. So I had this big idea today that I wasn't going to sew. I'm just going to watch TV and relax and cuddle in my bed. As soon as I get in bed, I turn on YouTube and I'm starting to watch videos, and wouldn't you know, Sonar pops on. You ever been there? You get on YouTube, you start watching it, and you see somebody and they're cutting out fabric and they're picking out colors and they're threading their sewing machine, and you're thinking, what the heck am I doing sitting in this bed? I need to be sewing. I've been away from sewing since Thursday. It's time to get busy, guys. I can't sit in bed. I missed my sewing machine, so I'm fixing to rip these off here and get busy. My son is here, and as much as I would love to sit in bed and cuddle and watch TV like I posted I was going to do on Facebook, I don't have time for all that. It's time to get busy. So Sonar popped on, as I said a few minutes ago, and she was actually working on that boxy tote pattern she got from Melly Sews, and I thought, the boy's home. It's time to make him up something. I've been working on picking out some leather for him to make a wallet, but I don't know a lot about leather. That was my husband's field, and so I think I'm just going to have to make him a cork wallet for now until I can learn a little bit more about leather and how to use some of my husband's leather tools, because I have no idea. But anyways, so I liked the black that she used, the black cork that she used for the boxy tote, so I thought, I'm going to go ahead and try to do that pattern today and make him a little toiletry Dopp kit. She calls it a Dopp kit. Is that a game system or something? I don't know. I call it a toiletry kit, so I need to look that up. But anyways, I'm going to make him one today, and hopefully you guys will join me while I put this together. I believe it's a pretty quick sew. She measures hers at, I think, 12 by 10. That's, you need two exterior pieces. That's two pieces that are 12 inches by 10 inches, and then you also need a lining. So I thought about doing a two-tone one. What do y'all think? Should I do the green? Ooh, boy, that came in quick, didn't it? Okay, should I do the green and black, or should I just stick with the black? I think I'm going to go easy today, and I'm just going to stick with the black. Another thing I'm thinking is, instead of using my metal tags, I'm going to go ahead and use our cork. Are these cork or leather? I think these are leather. Yeah, or like pleather. I'm going to use this tag today. I've noticed that While as much as I love those metal tags, sometimes our my make is just not meant for a big, shiny, bulky metal tag. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'm sure y'all have seen them. I actually don't have any right here because I had a lot of makes last week. I had some big orders last week, guys. I was so happy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut out my cork. And if I remember correctly, she said 10 by 12. So we're going to eliminate this part that I was showing. Oh, this is on the other one. Okay. I got two pieces here wrapped up because, oh, I did not get this fabric from Fabric Funhouse, guys. No, I did not. I got this fabric from So Sweetness. I sure did. So Sweetness. If you go to their website, Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness, she actually has prices that are a little cheaper than Fabric Funhouse. Okay, so I've decided to go with this wood grain fabric that I got from Joann. Now, this is the piece that I cut for the handle. Okay, there we go. So I need to go ahead and trim this down. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Let's say the things that we both know. Gonna take these words and make them stone. I know a place, a town. The whiskey and the wind are the only sound. Let's make like a tree, grow some roots, do all the things that old folks do.
Alright, go ahead and get out one of your exterior pieces right side up. And like I said, we're going to use this Beacon fabric tack. And we want to place our zipper right sides together with our exterior and our lining. Sorry, that's going to shake y'all because you're on the table. Oh, I better make sure I'm on the right side. Okay, our exterior piece is 12 by 10. So you want your longer side at the bottom and your shorter sides on the side. Right side's facing up, just put a line of glue. And if you don't want to use glue or you feel like your machine struggles with glue, you can also use double-sided tape. You'll often see that referenced in patterns as DST. That means double-sided tape. But today, because I'm using cork, I'm going to use the Beacon fabric tack. Okay, so we've got our zipper tape. And because I'm right-handed and so are my children, my son is right-handed and this is for him, you want to make sure that your zipper pull is on the left side. Because when you close it, you're going to close it to your left and open the pouch to your right. So put your zipper pull on your left side, right sides together, and you want to line up your top edges all the way to what is called the raw edge, even though the cork doesn't actually have raw edge. All the way to the top. And now oftentimes I like to leave a little space on each side just so I don't have any what I refer to as zipper butts. Y'all probably. Okay, we've let this sit for a second. You don't have to. I was just checking on who came in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to, again, match up our right sides together and line these up and put a couple drops of glue here if you want, or the double-sided tape. I'm just going to use a couple drops of glue since it's already out. A lot of times I use my double-sided tape for my zippers, but today we're using our glue because we're using cork. Want to make sure these line up, and I'm a little too far to the right, so I better pull that over or it's going to look awfully wonky. Make sure that one's down good. There we go. And I'm going to sew all along here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And while we're there, I'm going to go ahead and stitch the sides of this tab. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, we're back over here at our sewing machine. I better move this or I'm liable to hurt myself. And I'm going to start with my little handle here. And I'm going to lower my needle down just to make sure that it's inside one of these holes. And because this is a top stitch, I'm going to go ahead and move it to a 4.5 millimeter stitch length. I do have an 18 inch, I do have an 18, needle 18. I don't know if that references 18 inches. I'm not sure what it means, but it's a needle size 18. And here we go. I'm going to hand crank it to make sure it goes right into that other hole. And then I'm going to back stitch that and go right again. Making sure it ends right inside that hole. I think what I'm going to have to do is make another run on that. Yep. Just to make sure it's nice and thick and goes through both ends. So let me move that over there and put this down. Put these stitches side by side. There we go. Pull my needle down so it lands right inside. Yeah. Come on, thread. Don't fail me now. There we go. Make sure it goes right there. And I'm going to do the same with this side as I done the other side. I'm going to do 2 lines of stitching. Making sure it lands right inside. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move this back to 3 millimeter stitch length. Put my needle down. We're at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure that you know you can kind of feel this zipper because I'm going to put a couple stitches in. I still feel like that's a little longer. I hope I have matched these up correctly. As if I didn't, I'm in trouble. Okay, so I'm going to put in a couple of stitches, a couple of back stitches, and feel for that zipper. Put my needle in the down position. Remember, we've pretty much got a zipper sandwich, and let's move that zipper out of the way so we can continue on. Now that we've got our needle in the down position, we can move this out of the way and move our zipper back to where it was. Don't forget your back stitching. And there we go. Okay, so we've got this sewed together, and we're going to finger press this down. Move your lining away from your exterior. Give that a good top press. And don't worry, see how there's a little glue right there? That's going to wash right off. That's another good thing with this glue. You don't have to worry about if any of it shows because you can just wipe it right off. Okay, so I'm going to go back and top stitch this at 1/8 inch, and I'm probably going to do a 4.5 millimeter stitch length. But before I go to the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. And don't forget, I wrote that little note to my son, which it might go away, but it's there. And we'll clip this together so it stays nice and even because we don't want any shifting. And because I have some of that selvage right there, and I know that's a 1/2 of an inch, I'm going to go ahead and sew my seam allowance at a 1/2 of an inch so that that is no longer visible. Alright, so I'll take you back over to the sewing machine.
I need you and you need me. What else more could someone be? Key and I've got a lock. Let's build a house upon a rock. Let's build a house upon a rock. Want someone to lie with. Wanna drive all night and head out west.
Okay, here we are back at the cutting table, and it's time to add on the other side of our zipper. So we want to make sure that our sides are lined up. We can add a little bit of glue to the top here. If you don't want to use glue, you can also use clips.
Wanna drive all night and head out west. Get lost in Montana.
Okay, so we're back at the sewing machine. I've got it flipped over with the lining facing up just so I can see to make sure that this zipper is in good place, lined up nice and even at the top, and also paying close attention that my sides are lined up. I've definitely noticed that sometimes I fail to do that. So even though my zipper is a little bit smaller than my pouch, I'm going to start at the beginning of the exterior fabric.
Find the Santa Ana. If we're going nowhere, we're going nowhere fast. Hard times come and hard times pass. I'll be turns black. I need you and you need me. What else more could someone need? You've got a key and I've got a lock. Let's build a house upon a rock.
Oh yes, I like this. Okay, this is our exterior right here. We have the interior right here. We're going to do the same that we did with this side. If you guys remember, we need to look up a little bit. Okay, if you guys remember, we done a top stitch on this side and we moved our lining over. We're going to do that same thing. I'm going to move my lining over to the left, and I'm going to finger press my exterior fabric along with that seam allowance down so that I can do a nice top stitch. This is the part that we want to try to go slow so we can keep these stitches even, because it's going to be visible, and we want a nice, good, visibly even top stitch. Okay guys, I got so excited to box this pouch, I wasn't thinking we need to close the bottom of our exterior and lining. So let's do that before we head over to the cutting table to box them. So we want to line up the bottoms of our exterior right sides together. Let's put a couple of clips in there just to hold it. And on this one, we want to close this one all the way. So we're going to stay at our 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. There we go. And while I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that these are lining up and staying all in line. So let me put that clip back there. Keeping it all lined up. There we go. Yep. Okay, hold your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and let's go back to a 3mm stitch length. Now usually I use a 2mm stitch length, 2.5 I think it is, but because I'm using cork, you always want to lengthen your stitch length a little bit because it does perforate cork, just like you can perforate vinyl. So be sure to keep that in mind depending on the textile you use or the substrate. So, as I was saying, you always want to leave an opening. So we're going to leave about a 5 to 6 inch opening in the middle. And if you look at the sonar, it's Nicole on sonar, she does like an L shape. And I'm going to try that today. I've tried that before. I wasn't very successful in it, so I'm going to try that again today. I'm going to clip my raw edges together. But also, I'm going to extend my stitch length. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to put a little bit more fabric in your seam allowance so that when your lining sits inside of your pouch, it sits in there really nice. It's not floppy. There's not a bunch of extra fabric around. It just sets right down into the exterior of the bag, or the interior of the bag. So instead of doing a 1/2 inch, I'm going to go up to, or excuse me, instead of doing a 1/4 inch, I'm going to go up a 1/2 inch to a 5/8 inch. And then we will eventually kind of add a little bit of, or take away a little bit of our seam allowance as we go and taper into the traditional seam allowance. Just so it evens up. Okay, don't forget your back stitching here, because we're going to be turning the bag through our lining, so we definitely want those extra few stitches. And I'm going to go in about 6 inches. Oh, I wasn't going to do that, but now I went in 7 inches.
What else more could someone need? You got a key and I've got a lock. Let's build a house upon a rock. Let's build a house upon a rock. Runs dry. That'll never cross our mind.